What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Married at First Sight UK Season 7. I think this is episode 4. Y'all, is anybody watching Married at First Sight UK? Because this show is like bananas. It is so bananas. I always love that overseas Married at First Sight. I am loving Married at First Sight UK. This is the first time that I've seen the UK version. I think I've seen 2 separate seasons of Australia. I don't think I watched either one to the end because they end up canceling them or getting rid of them before we can get to the end. So I hope that they're going to keep UK on Lifetime until the very end. I am having a ball with Married at First Sight UK. So this week we have 2 new couples. The first couple that I'm going to talk about is PJ and Jess. So PJ is 31 and Jess is 30 years old. So let's talk about Jess first. So Jess, she's a dental hygienist. She is obsessed with Harry Potter. She even has a tattoo of Daniel Radcliffe as Harry Potter on her leg. It's a pretty big tattoo. I think it covers like the whole entire length of her leg from the knee down. So she's obsessed with Harry Potter. She loves Harry Potter, and she's been single for 4 years, but before that she was in a relationship for 5 years, and that person ended up cheating on her. And I think they said that they cheated on her with her father's ex-wife, and I think Jess caught them in the act or something. I'm not sure. I think that's what I heard, that her boyfriend cheated on her with her father's ex-wife. Bananas. So she's got issues with trust because she's been betrayed, but then they match her with a stripper. Okay, so then we meet PJ. PJ, he is 30 years old. He's a stripper. That's what he does for a living. And he's got 1 son, 5 years old, never been married before. And I think he does the type of dancing where he gets completely nude on stage. I think. I'm not sure, but I think so. So when we meet PJ, he's extremely worried about telling his future wife that he's a stripper and that he also has a child. So let's get to the wedding day. So Jess's mom says that she's hoping that her daughter's future husband will have a decent job and ambition. He might have some ambition, but I don't know what you would consider a decent job. Now, okay, when we met PJ is extremely good looking. Okay, maybe not extremely, but he is a very good looking guy. He has a nice face. He has a nice body. He has beautiful skin. He's just like a full package in the looks department. But the only thing is that he's a stripper. But he tells us, he's trying to convince us that, hey, stripping is just my job. It's just my profession. There's no hanky panky going on at work. I don't, indulge with the patrons. It's just strictly professional. All I do is dance and perform. Okay, fine. But there's something about PJ that's just like, something about him is just giving me like, I know there's got to be a hitch somewhere with PJ. I don't know if I'm going to say it. He just kind of gives me like player vibes. He really does give me player vibes, even though he wants to. Okay, why is a guy like PJ on Married at First Sight UK? Why is he even on a show like this? Here he is, a good looking man who can have any woman he wants. Okay, he can have any woman he wants. Why is he on a show like Married at First Sight? I'm not saying that Married at First Sight is for people who are, desperate or who can't find people on their own. And I understand that it could be for people who are just ready to settle down and they're not finding that right person to settle down with. But honey, PJ does not strike me as someone who's ready to get married and ready to settle down. He just does not strike me as that type of a person. So anyways, when he comes down the aisle first, right? He comes down the aisle first and he's carrying this huge bouquet of flowers, which he gives to Jess's mother. And Jess's mother, obviously, she really did appreciate it. And she made a comment to whoever was sitting next to her that he was a really good looking guy. So I'm like, okay, good. The mom likes him. So then here comes Jess. And I'm assuming that was her father that walked her down the aisle. But whoever that was, I'm assuming it was her dad. When he walked her down the aisle and when it came time to give her her away to PJ, I noticed that he did not shake PJ's hand. And I don't know if he's just like an awkward guy or a shy guy, but normally I'm used to like when the father gives the daughter away, or whoever gives the bride away to the groom, I'm used to the groom and that relative or that parent having some type of an exchange, or some type of an acknowledgement of one another, but there was none of that. So anyways, when they see each other, PJ and Jess, okay, fine, they're attracted to one another, they like one another, beautiful. He said he wanted a brunette with pretty eyes, and that's what he got. And I forgot what she wanted, but she's a dental hygienist, so she's really focused on teeth, and he does have a nice set of teeth. Maybe his teeth could use just a little bit of whitening, but other than that, he had a nice set of teeth. So when they're exchanging their vows, it just blew her over the moon when he said that he loved Harry Potter, because this girl is obsessed with Harry Potter. So when she heard that, she turned to look at the audience. I don't know if that was her little brother sitting there, but there was a young man sitting in the audience, and when PJ mentioned Harry Potter, this young man, I mean, his eyes and his face just lit up. He was like, like he couldn't believe that they matched her with someone who loved Harry Potter, because that's like a big deal to her. So like I said, he talked about Harry Potter in his vows, and then he finds out that she's also into Harry Potter because she talks about Harry Potter in her vows. So it's like a match made in heaven, right? Until they get to the part where they take pictures. So when they're taking pictures, they're having a conversation, getting to know each other better, and he's working up the nerve to tell her that he has a 5-year-old son. So he finally tells her, and she's okay with that. She was cool with that. And then she asked him, are you open to having more children? And he said yes. So that's good. Okay, 1 down, 1 to go. So now it's time for him to tell her that he's a stripper. So during the course of the conversation, she very casually asked him, so what do you do for a living? And he says, I'm a performer / dancer / stripper. And he says it just like that. And she was crushed. She was crushed because here you have a girl that has been cheated on and betrayed by a previous boyfriend, and they're matching her with a stripper, someone who makes a living out of taking his clothes off in front of women. So at some point, she's doing her little interview with the camera, her little confessional, and she completely breaks down, and she can't even complete her interview. She runs off and she says she wants to go home. So somehow or another, she finds her mom, and she tells her mom that, Mom, he's a stripper. He says he's a stripper and he lives at home with his parents. Oh, that's another thing. PJ lives at home with his parents. So the mom was like absolutely devastated, right? So when they go into the reception, Mom came guns blazing. So they're sitting at the reception, and Jess is in between her mom and PJ. The mom didn't waste no time. The mom, she asked him, what did she ask him? The mother asked him about his stripping, and he was trying to let them know, hey, it's just a job, that's all it is, it's just a way for me to make money. And then the mother says, so how long are you going to be doing this? And he says he doesn't know, but he doesn't want to do it forever, it's temporary. And he kind of dips in and out of this whole stripping thing, like he'll leave it, then when he needs money he'll come back to it. So he's like back and forth with it. And so the mother says to him, so this is how you get your kicks? You get your kicks off by having women rub oil all over your body? Is that what they do? The strip clubs, the women rub oil all over the dancers' bodies. And so he's like, no, it's nothing like that. And then the mother says to him, she goes, where the F are you going to be in 5 years? And how the F are you going to get there? Because I need you to figure out what you're going to do with your life so you can take care of my daughter. And he was just like, damn. So then he tries to explain to both of them that, hey, this is just temporary. I have a child to take care of, and this is just a way for me to make a lot of money really, really quickly. And my priority is my son and caring for my son, and I do this all for my child. So when he, brought in the whole child thing, I got to take care of my child, and it's really good money, they kind of like softened up a little bit. And Jess even said, well, when you look at it that way, it's not that bad. I bet it ain't, girl. I bet it ain't. So the mother begins to feel a little bit better about it. And the mom says, well, as long as, Jess, whatever Jess wants to do, I'm going to support her. So she wants to stay, leave, whatever, I'm going to support my daughter. So, then okay, so everything works out, everything is fine. They have a chance to talk one-on-one, Jess and PJ, and it was cold outside, so he gave her his jacket to wear to keep warm, and they're having a regular conversation and everything is fine. So they go to the honeymoon suite, and then that's where their little segment ends. So this is going to be very, very interesting for me to see, because I don't have a good feeling about PJ at all. I really don't. I don't have a good feeling about him at all. But we'll see. Hopefully he's going to prove me wrong. Hopefully out of all the husbands, he'll be the best one yet. Now let's move on to the second couple, which is Laura and Richie. So Laura's 49. She's a waitress. And I think her hobby is dancing, because we see her like dancing ballet in some studio. But I think her main job is a waitress. She's a single mom. She has 2 kids. She's originally from Canada. So in her previous marriage, she got married to a very wealthy man, and she signed her prenuptial agreement. And when the marriage ended, she walked away with nothing. During the marriage, she lived in the lap of luxury. Okay. She was, the creme de la creme, I guess. But then when all of that was over, she left with nothing. Every time you sign a prenuptial agreement, please, please, please get an attorney to make sure that you have some type of interest protected. So, she says that she tends to pick people that are no good for her. She says that she wants a kind man who will accept her for who she is, because she's kind of kooky, she's kind of eccentric, and she wants a man that's just going to accept her for who she is. Okay, fine. And her ideal guy is an indie rock and roll kind of guy. Well, guess what, y'all? They matched her with a former rock and roll kind of guy. Richie, 51 years old. He really reminds me of, and I'm not saying he's like an exact replica, but to me, he really resembles Mick Jagger. He looks like Mick Jagger's cousin from a small town somewhere, the cousin from the country or something like that. But he kind of resembles, I don't know if it's the hair and the lips, but he really resembles, to me, he resembles Mick Jagger. So he's a retail assistant by day, and I think he still plays in a band up until now. I think he does. But in the 90s, he was in a rock and roll band. Okay, he was the bass player of a rock and roll band called Dare. He says that he's never ever met the right person. He's never ever been married, and he's never ever been in love. Okay. So on their wedding day, her son is there. Her son is extremely pessimistic about this whole process. He's very protective of his mother. He doesn't believe in love and this happily ever after fairy tale, because he's seen so many divorces. His mom has been divorced twice already. So he has absolutely like no hope in this working out. And he comes in, I think, with the mindset of not liking Richie, when he's at the altar and she finally comes down the aisle, and when he turns around to look at her for the very first time, he is blown away. He thinks that she's just the most beautiful woman he's ever seen. He actually says that she was a knockout, and that she was exactly what he ordered. And then when she saw him, she was just like, well, I'm glad he has a full head of hair. She says, I might not look at him twice if I saw him walking down the street, but at least he's got a full head of hair. Because she's 49 years old, and so I guess she's used to meeting men who don't have a full head of hair. So she loves the idea of him being this former rocker, like rock and roll band person. She really loves that idea. I think when she found out that he was a musician and he played the guitar and all of this, I think that kind of made him a little bit more attractive to her. So she's kind of worried about him being, she's worried about him never being married before and never having a serious relationship. So that's a red flag for her. And another red flag for her is that Richie also lives at home with his parents. And so, she's not too crazy about that. Now, his only issue with her, which is not a really big issue, I think he accepts it, but it kind of was like, it made him kind of think a little bit, is the fact that she's got two kids. I don't know why, because her kids, I think, are practically, I don't know about her other child, but I think her kids are like almost grown. So it's not like he's going to be changing diapers or running around after a toddler. So at the reception, her son is there, like I said. And so she introduces her son, Jalen, to Richie. And then she gives the two men an opportunity to talk alone. So they're talking, and Jalen is very reserved. He's very cautious, right? Because he's already he's already made up his mind. He doesn't want to like him. But as soon as he finds out that Richie is a musician, plays the guitar, was in a band back in the day, he kind of warms up to him because Richie himself is in a band. He's a musician as well. So they have that in common. And so they kind of like start bonding over that. And then we just see them laughing and talking and having a really good time, just the two of them. So everything went well. And then later on, when they have a chance to be alone, he gets his guitar, which just happens to materialize out of nowhere. He gets his guitar and he plays her like a really nice love song. I thought he had a really nice voice. So he plays her this really beautiful song and she loved it. She absolutely loved it. I think she even kind of got teary-eyed. And then they dance the night away. After that, they go to their honeymoon suite. And she says to us, she tells us, that she never sleeps on, she never, what does she say? She says that there's no hanky-panky, none of that on the first night because she's a 3-day kind of girl. So he might be a little bit luckier on the third night. And that's where the episode ended. Y'all, I am enjoying Married at First Sight UK. These people are so interesting. Like I said, I don't know if these are real people, real situations, or if these are actors. I have no idea, but this is a whole lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.